As the leader of the Booner pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Watching one of the craziest fucking games, I think. I mean, it seems like there's more and more every single year. This is some crazy shit happening. The Texans game. You know, the Lions, they look like trash in the first half. They win the game. Kind of Jake Bates game winner. Jake Bates today at home in Ford Field, sold out crowd, divisional game. Wow. Jake Bates, you are the fucking man. I give this man free drinks wherever he goes in the city of Detroit. Actually, fucking come to the Michigan. Come to the hub, Jake Bates.
Come to the hub.
You are a legend. And I don't think people understand. The number one seed right now, Mike. These wins are so important, and Jake Bates is giving you two of them with game-winning field. Maybe three. Can't remember. He's giving you a couple off game-winning field goals. That's incredible.
No, it's Jared Goff on the stretch of that game. First of all, the Packers really had control, or the Lions really had control of that. Kind of like Caleb talked about. You really thought the Lions were going to go into that second half and kind of roll into that game. Packers came out firing, and Jared Goff to end that game, I'm pretty sure they said he completed his last 13 or 14 passes. Totally dialed in, clutch out of Jared Goff, and like you said, clutch Jake Bates. Huge kick after kick. He just shows up. But Jared Goff, man, he deserves the flowers right there, man. That was an unreal last try by Goff. Everything against him.
All right, sorry, the music.
We had the music's
turned off. We're back. Sorry,
up.
the music's going. We're fired up. Jake Bates, he's fucking special. That dude is a legend. Jared Goff, and I want to say this. I want to say this and make this very clear. The handoff, Jared Goff on one knee. He's proposing. Literally, he said, "Will you marry me, Dave Montgomery? Get the fucking first down." He did it. That was incredible. And I will say this because I said it when it happened, and I know everyone was panicking because I get it. It's emotions are high. It's a close game. I loved that he went for it. I loved that he went for it there to seal the game. To give the Packers an opportunity with 44 seconds left, no timeouts. I don't care. That's 3-4 catches out of bounds, field goal. And they could easily tied it.
You never know in overtime.
You stepped down their throat and said, "Get out of the town. Take that L and leave. Go back to Green Bay." I love the decision there.
Caleb?
The Detroit Lions not only own the Green Bay Packers, because they do.
They own them.
They not only own the NFC North, they not only own the NFC, they run the entire fucking NFL. Everything goes through Detroit now.
Yep.
Everything goes through Detroit now.
Oh, yeah.
This is the most unhealthy team I've ever seen, and we just beat a really good Packers team. It wasn't the prettiest, and we said that pregame.
No need to
we
be.
said, look, this might not be pretty. These wins might be survive in advance. And that's exactly what that was. Dan Campbell has the biggest fucking ball sack I've ever seen in my entire life. This team is awesome. Go Lions. Fuck the Packers.
Yeah,
let's go, man. That is unbelievable. What a win. What a win, Jeff.
I'm going to lose my hair the more I talk. These wins are fucking incredible. I mean, they just are. We got a wife beater on. This is insane. I honestly.
Do the people see me?
Hey,
the Detroit Lions are 12-1. They're the best team in the world. The world! Hey, Tucker Kraft, how do you like that, buddy?
Tucker Kraft, you're a bitch. You're a bitch. Xavier McKinney, you're a bitch. Matt LaFleur, you're a bitch.
He's like,
fuck Green Bay.
Hey, Klotzy.
Matt LaFleur, you're a bitch.
Yeah, honestly, you couldn't have said it better. Matt LaFleur, fuck him.
Dude, him whining at the end of the game,
Kraft,
I don't know what the fuck it was over.
I mean, he whined the entire game.
Yeah,
he got. You know who was the real X factor in this game? Whoever that brave soul was. The boots on the ground soldier. Pre-game, real patriot was about to hold up the American flag before the game. Started chirping at Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was out of his element before that clock even started for the Detroit Lions. Whoever that was, shout out you.
Rattled him to his fucking core.
I love it.
I love it. You know what he did? got rattled, set the tone for the day.
Set the tone.
So whoever that man was, by the way, that rattled Matt LaFleur,
should have season tickets.
No,
Put him in the booth with Barry.
build him a statue. Build him a
Mine as well.
statue. 2-0 against the Packers, guys, by the way, and I'll even say this because I don't mind admitting it. I thought they'd split with the Packers before the year.
So did I. Me and you both.
I honestly thought, you know what, they're going to split these games. Boy, was I wrong. Smacked that ass in both games. And maybe I shouldn't say smacked that ass, but they won. They won.
Not only did they sweep the Packers this year, who I think we would all agree probably the second best team in the NFC North, beat the Bears, beat the Vikings, undefeated in the NFC North. That's great.
Yeah.
But this win now, I believe it was 96% to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Packers are now 4 losses. The Vikings are 2 losses, but they're bound to drop another one eventually.
Yeah, and that's to win the NFC North.
So
yep.
So I wonder what it is division-wise or conference-wise.
Yeah, I do
but
too.
It's still
yeah.
extremely high compared for you to have lost this game because Philly's sitting at 2 losses. They still got to play the Steelers and the Commanders. They could easily win both of those games. But if the Lions drop this game, you're now tied neck and neck. So Lions, if you I shouldn't say somehow because there's definitely a good chance. If you are able to manage to beat both the Packers and the Bills in back-to-back weeks, lock that 1 seed up. You already clinched a playoff spot tonight, but you get that number 1 seed and you get this whole thing for the NFC playoffs running through Detroit exactly where you want in Ford Field.
I want to say, Coach Walk, shout out to you, man. He says, Jeff, you were damn close on that score prediction. I had 33-27. It's an odd number. It's a weird number, though. But
how'd you get to 33?
A lot of field goals.
I just like the
number. Score predictions just kind of hit me. Hey, see you guys. Love you.
Shout out to Lex.
Hey, shout out to the real ones.
Shout out you guys.
Supporting the show.
Fam,
Stick out.
You got one more in here?
Yeah, honestly, shout out. People at the Hub are great. The hospitality here.
Snag me that beer over there.
All the people showing up to support the fellas. It was a lot of fun. And everyone that's been tuning in today, man, we fucking love you guys.
Yeah,
that was an electric win.
Thank you so much.
You know what? We got Roman in here. Shout out Roman. We're in the castle he built. We always say that. But, oh, shit.
Please,
please. Bring him here.
Oh, show the jersey, too.
Hey, come on, you got to come to the camera. Get this man. Look at his jersey. Look at his fucking jersey.
Turn around. Come on.
You just got the beer for the fellas, dude. Come on. You're the man, dude. Shout out. You know what? This is incredible. Real American beer, by the way. Fucking delicious beer. This is delicious. This is absolutely delicious.
Before you do that,
I think we
might
might
grab a key real quick.
Oh.
Pop the
Does he have it in him?
I might be a little out of my prime, Klotzy.
Yeah.
I might be a little out of my prime.
So Jamal Adams might be too. But you know what? He's going out there.
He's chirping. He was chirping. It's all right. You know what, guys? I'll say this, and I have to reiterate this. This is fucking crazy. Like you're out. What? 13 guys, 14 with
whatever it was.
I think
Lee McNeil left the fucking game. I
think that makes it 14. That's even more.
Outside of your safeties, who are all pros, Ali McNeil is your best defensive
team's
player.
different, man.
You're going up against Josh
Different.
Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, he felt like he had a huge imprint on that game because he had 3 touchdowns. But I can go double check. When I last checked, he had 66 rushing yards. If you look at what Josh Jacobs has been doing over the last month, he's been clearing that every fucking game.
Yeah, I know.
And you somehow
I know.
don't stop them because you're not going to stop anybody when they have 3 touchdowns, regardless if they have 13 yards with it. But you were able to limit them, and you were able to put pressure on Jordan Love with no Ali McNeil, with no DJ Reader, no Levi Onwuzurike, no
It's
Josh
crazy.
Pascal. I don't know how Aaron Glenn still does it. I get you're going to look, and Green Bay has 31 points. If this defense has any other coordinator outside of maybe Steve Spagnuolo, they're losing this game because of the defense. The defense kept them in this game. You go back and you look at that Carlton Davis forced fumble, and David Long, the guy they signed 2 weeks ago, recovering it. You look at AQM making plays, Pat O'Connor making plays, Jamal Adams making plays. If you are inserted in this Detroit Lions defense, you're making plays. It doesn't matter who you are. Hats off to Aaron Glenn yet again, regardless of the scoreboard.
I mean, I don't care, guys. Fucking give him the award. He's the best coordinator of the league.
Yeah, assistant
what
of
he
the
just
year
did,
for sure.
situation, because again, they scored 30. I get that, 31. But situationally, this defense handled business. They handle business, and we got the tunes going. The vibes are high. I can't believe how many guys that were on IR and Aleem going out. Bro, who was left on the defensive?
Pat O'Connor, HUM.
Shout out Pat O'Connor, man.
That had a hell of a game.
I would
today.
say
He's the MVP of the defense.
Well, yeah, I would say either Jack Campbell, because you saw just the way he was playing all 4 quarters. He was chirping with Tucker Kraft, which I love because Jack Campbell never talks. If you see Jack Campbell talking, you know there's a given reason. Jack Campbell, he's getting interviewed right now, getting talked to. But I would agree with you. And Kirk Herbstreit was all over it the whole game. Pat O'Connor. We say it as a joke. Big 9'5" with the double sleeve.
The Irishman.
That dude came out and he made a difference tonight. Not even just in one series, not in one quarter, not one half. Through all 4 quarters, that man was just making plays.
Klotz, there's 2 stats. While I chug my great real American beer,
I'll be right there with you. I'll drink. As you talk, I'll drink.
All right, 2 stats I want to read off. Klotz, hit on them a little bit. Jordan Love.
Yep.
12 for 20, 206 yards. Jaden Reed. 0 catches, 0 yards.
Goose egg.
You're talking about.
Oh, wait. Hold on, just so we can make sure. While you're on the stat sheet, how many yards did Tim Patrick have?
Hey, we didn't even bring him up.
6 catches.
We're about to.
6 catches, 43 yards. 2 of them boys.
And
2 of them
how many
boys.
yards for Jaden Reed?
0. 0.
You want to talk about a playmaker? Now that's a playmaker.
Yeah.
He made the play. Shout out Michael.
Tim Patrick today was unbelievable. It wasn't just the 2 touchdown catches. I think he had 2 first down catches that were just. It wasn't like he caught it and fought for the first down, like gritty plays by Tim
Patrick. He heard
Patrick.
that Josh Reynolds noise. Hey,
shout out. Someone said, someone check on Dan's testicles because those goddamn things are swollen.
But look, okay, so
this guy carries them in a barrel.
When we were going at about Booner, and I'm interested in Caleb because you kind of had the same opinion I did. You didn't hate the play call, or you hated the play call. I really didn't that much because they were just missed blocks. But Dan Campbell finishes the game 4 for 5 on 4th down conversions. But the 3rd quarter, I believe, when they're inside their own 30 and he goes for it on 4th and 1, they don't get it. But to seal the game, when I was like, I support him going for it earlier. When it's 4th and 1 inside the Packers 30, when you can just seal the game, potentially give Jordan Love a chance, and he goes for it.
Yeah.
And he kills the game.
Yep.
Making up for that. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. But going on out, I don't care if Dan Campbell goes for it on 4th and 5 on their own 25. If Dan Campbell goes for it, shut the fuck up and just watch what happens.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, that team's going to make up for it for him.
No, guys, I get if you want to talk about the fourth down plays, I understand. I understand the one where he's on his own 30, which I said I just hate the play call. I didn't mind the play. I get people. We can go back and forth. The one I don't think you can question is the one at the end of the game. Don't give the Packers the ball. Like we've seen this before with Dan Campbell. Like he's sitting there going, okay, what do we want to do? Don't give them the ball back. Get the first down. Trust your offense. Trust the best side of your ball. And I don't care. Jared Goff slipped. He's intelligent enough, and he's been playing enough games in this league to know. I told Mike he proposed. That's what he did. He proposed.
He gave a little finger roll.
That's all it was. Maybe he did it on purpose. He just gave it to Dave Montgomery. Boom, first down. Ended. I didn't even want to see the Packers out back on the field. I thought that was the right call because you know what? Oh, God, kick the field goal. We kick it. Packers get the ball back, tie it up. Now what the fuck do those people say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. End the game with the ball. That's what I believe in. And they did that.
The 3rd quarter one I liked. I think you go for it in that spot. I think you want to continue that drive. I think you want to put points on the board. The one on the last drive, I said it. I didn't like it. I don't think you go for fourth. I don't think you go for it on 4th down. But I look like a fucking idiot now because guys, I'm telling you. I mean, when Jared Goff tripped over, I almost threw up on you guys. I almost threw up on you guys.
Everyone in this place stopped
because he just needed to be touched. He just tapped.
Hey,
like if someone blew their assignment, like Packers are now driving. They have no timeouts, but still, like we saw the bomb to Christian Watson, Terrion Arnold got the pass interference going again. But it just seemed like in the past too, the Detroit Lions found ways to lose games, and this is now where Dan Campbell's going on 4th down there because he saw in the past we left too much time on the clock.
Right.
He remembers the Lamar Jackson when Justin Tucker hit a 67-yard or whatever it was and stonked it in there. The Josh Allen game.
Dude. Yes.
Like, this is and I will say I did not like the play call. I looked at Booner. I said, "You don't go for it on 4th down here." But what was I saying before? You need 1 yard, and you were saying this too, Jeff.
Yes.
You have the best offensive line in football. You have David Montgomery. You've been converting all game. Seal the deal, and that's what they did.
That's the thing. Like I used to be, and I'll have a moment right here. I used to be at a prior employer and just talking sports. I used to be like, why'd he go for it? Why'd he go for it? I'm at the point now where it's like, this is who this fucking guy is. Like you either accept it. Like then you have to either be all in or all out, in my opinion. And not that you excuse every decision, but honestly, when he went for it on his own 30, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. This is where we're at. Like, trust coach.
Yeah.
I didn't like the play call. but the decision, I didn't mind at all. Yeah. Like, this dude knows. Dan, he said this before, and I'm starting to learn. He knows what type of game it's going to be. Like, he says that enough. Like, at the postgame or at the press conference, he talks to the media. They're like, why'd you do this? He's like, I knew what type of game it was going to be. I bet you that's going to be his answer when he talks to the media.
Yeah.
And when he goes into the game with that type of mindset, like, there'll be games where he isn't as aggressive. He knows this will be more of a defensive game. I'll punt it. I'll play field position. He's done that this year. And there's other games where Dan's like, it's this type of game. Like, it's a 60 total point combined game. We're going for it. We got to score. And even at the end there, it made sense. This is what I don't want Dan to do, guys. Get away from who he is. Yeah, he did that against the 49ers and they lost. Don't get away from who you are. If that's who you are, Dan, then you fucking do it. He did it, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So I love it.
You got to live and die by it.
Live and die by it.
You got to live and die by it. This is what's got us here. And like I said, I didn't think we should have gone for it on that 4th down before the field goal, but boy, I looked like an idiot. Before I let Boone hop in
But that's
here,
most people, though, I think. I think a lot of people were saying, what are we doing?
Boone, I think, is just
Boone's vibing.
I think Boone was like so stressed.
Was the
Did
Kool-Aid
Chug? Kool-Aid Chug was phenomenal.
Okay.
It always is.
Yeah.
But you can see Boone now. He's as Flannel would say, woosah.
Every line, that game was stressful as hell.
I wanna give a cheers to one player on the Detroit Lions.
Who's that?
Everybody plays well. Everybody played well today.
Who's the cheers for?
But I'm looking at this box score. Okay, you got David Montgomery, 14 carries, 51 yards, 3.5 yards a carry.
Got it.
Jameer Gibbs, 15 carries, 43 yards, 2.9 yards per carry.
Worst game of the year.
And a lot of people think that this guy is very reliant on the run game. And I'm talking about Jared Goff. Jared Goff is out there and fucking slung it today.
You're a dog, JG.
Cheers, JG.
Hey, cheers, Caleb. Hey,
cheers,
JG.
Cheers, JG. 283, 3. He had that bad pick, but 283, 3 touchdowns. He's the guy that's going to hoist the Lombardi in Detroit. They brought him in, and they knew what they were getting out of this.
I'll tell you one thing, boys. Matthew Stafford doesn't win that game.
But you know what's a crazy stat?
Not.
This is what I want. We didn't even mention this. You know what's crazy? You mentioned Jared Goff's stat line, 32 of 41, 283. I said it, don't let him throw 40 times. He did it in 1. I'll go fuck myself. But look at the receiving. Look at this. Jamison, 5 catches. Sam Laporta, 5 catches. Tim Patrick, 6 catches. Amon-Ra, 5 catches. David Montgomery, 5 catches. Jameer Gibbs, 6 catches. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with 5 or more catches. The ball spread.
You can't. And
how do you guard that?
Especially when you have no Jair Alexander, you have no Corey Ballantyne, you have no Edrin Cooper. Like, yeah, the offense didn't look good through all 4 quarters, especially in that second and third quarters. Like, what are we doing here? But when you just have – that's why the Lions are the best team in the NFL, because if you want to shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown and limit him like he was tonight, still had a solid game, but it's not the Amon-Ra St. Brown that we normally see. That's fine.
Yeah.
Please do, because you saw Jameson Williams. Like, Jameson Williams didn't play this Packers team before when they matched up earlier in the season.
Yeah.
And it showed. Like, when Jared Goff needed to go with somebody, Sam Laporta was banged up the first time they played too. Who did he target all night outside of Tim Patrick?
Yeah.
As far as the playmakers up in the front. You got Jameson Williams looking like J-Mo, and Sam Laporta. I said I would take his under this week because he doesn't look like Sam Laporta. He looked like Sam Laporta tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Sam played everyone essentially played well enough to win. I mean, there was no, like, big breakout player. I mean, besides I think J-Mo's magnificent. I mean, that dude made big plays. The only guy that got touchdowns were Jameer Gibbs on that receiving and then Tim Patrick. So
2 of them.
Thanks. So I can't even look at, like, Amon-Ra. We're going to talk about it during the stream because we have bets
in. Light in my eye. That was
Booner's legacy player. We're going to target the guys. You know, this is quite the dime. I mean, this is Boone. You got a guy over here asking for the rock.
Sam Laporta wants it.
Hey, you got a guy asking for the pill. You got a guy asking for the pill. You got a guy asking for the pill.
That's a tough angle right there. That's
tough.
A tough
you might
angle.
hit the bartender in the head. Some guy's asking for the football over here. Look at that. Oh, come on.
It's not your fault.
You dropped the pass. It's not your fault.
Just pissed off the bartender too.
But it was the way they spread the ball. And honestly, boys, like when you look at the carries, 14 for David, 15 for Jameer, like they still stuck with the run. It just wasn't working.
You got to get like as good as that Detroit Lions offense usually is at running the ball. I think you got to give Jeff Iafrate some credit because when you look at this Packers team, how they've been winning too, not only has Josh Jacobs been doing good, but that defense on the other side has been good at stopping the run, which is why they've been able to use Josh Jacobs so heavily. So there's been a couple plays. It wasn't even just against the run, but Jeff Iafrate, like he's a good defensive coordinator. He's got this defense clicking. So I'm not even looking at Ben Johnson. Like, what the fuck are you doing? No, it's just like, especially like Rashawn Gary that one time against the Sac.
Yeah, they got good. Like they got good personality.
They just know how to match up with the Lions.
All right, boys.
Boom.
How about that, huh?
Hey,
that's football.
Back-to-back divisional 3-point victories, but it is Booner. They're winning with injuries. Booner.
I've said it a million times.
They're winning with injuries.
I've said it a million times, guys. And Jeff, what did I say to you multiple times today when we did Twitter Spaces, pregame show, all this? What have I been saying to you?
AG's
going to find a way.
Yeah.
You find a way with losses. And the people last week, I'll say this about the people last week, I look you in your eyes, who said you were worried about the second half in Chicago. Just because you only won by 3 points, you won the football game.
Yeah,
and then today, you go into today, Dan Campbell, AG, and Ben Johnson have never showed you when they lose a guy or they get some type of injury, they have never shown you that they can't still scheme and give a game plan to put you in a game to win a game. They have never done that. And you know what they did today? Yeah, it was a tough game. Like, you're down multiple times. You have to go down multiple times to score to take the lead. Not just once, 2 or 3 times.
You know what this is?
And they kept doing it. And what did we say too? Yeah, that we made it very clear, Jeff. Offense is going to win you the football game. You win 30+. What did we say? You win the football game.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. You know what this is giving me kind of a hint of?
Touch.
A team that was beating another team for a while, and now the other team's starting to win lately.
The changing of the guards.
Reminds me of Ohio State, Michigan.
Bro, we had to bring this back.
But the Natty's on its way, baby.
No, it's not. It's not.
But that's the Super Bowl, I mean.
For the Lions, yeah.
That's what I mean.
You bring me down to an Ohio State rabbit hole. It's gonna go in the dark
but
places.
it seems like the Packers,
keep the Buckeyes out of this victory Thursday.
The Packers, they take care of the Lions for a while. And now it's a new era. Lions own you fucking frauds. That's what this is. Tucker Kraft. I'm hoping you put your hands on Kirby enough because you lost. All right?
I have a good trip back to Cheese
and
Country.
Xavier McKinney. And by the way, I know people commented on the reel we made where I was saying, Amon-Ra's going to get a $150 and a touchdown. I was going off. They're like, is this clown going to respond after Amon-Ra doesn't do that?
A lot of people are.
They were coming at me in the comment section. You know what he did do? And this is where I take a victory lap. Made a huge catch at the end of the game.
And by the way,
that's what you have to worry about right there.
Weezy said, Booner, apologize to the best coach in the NFL yet. Listen, I still will stand on that third down or that fourth down, the 30-yard line. I'm not going for it. And I think all of us up here, and I think 80% of Lions fans, because I was on Twitter and I saw everyone wanted him to kick the field goal. And Dan Campbell, and I'll say this.
I said go for it.
I'm not going to apologize for talking about that fourth down earlier in the game, but I will say Dan Campbell is Dan Campbell. That man knows what he's doing, and he is going to stick to what he does. I respect that. I respect it.
I went on
I
a
won't
tangent.
apologize. I will respect it.
I said this earlier. I want your thoughts. This is what I
respect.
think. This is how I think with Dan, because I was in the same boat. I mean, me and Adam used to argue about it all the time because he was more like punt conservative. I get it. And this is where I finally turned the chapter, Boone. I think at the end of the day, Dan, you know what he does? You watch his press conferences, Boone. You're locked in. You know what he says. What does he say after these games, Boone? He says, I knew what type of game it was going to be. He knows what type of game it's going to be. This Packers game, I think he knew going into it, I got to be aggressive. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And he stuck to it. He didn't go away from what he needed to do. I get you don't want to be careless, have carelessness and do all these dumb things. But I don't mind him being aggressive because I think that's what the game entailed. If it was a different, you've seen him punt it. Bears, for example. So let's not we know what type of game this is going to be. Defensive, lower scoring, we'll punt it. And this, I think he knew going into this game, it's like, it's going to be a 60-point combined game type of game. I'm going for this bitch. And I said at the end of the game, I love it that he didn't give the Packers the ball back. Because I love that move. I love it.
It's just putting your foot on their necks and closing the game. And if you look at it, like, regardless of what you want to say about the Packers, if they're a legit Super Bowl threat or not, if you look at the Packers and how they've been playing over the last month, like, that's a top 6 to 5 NFL team. And I would say, unless, knock on wood, there's another major injury to this defense, the 11 that you had on the defensive side of the ball is probably the worst personnel that they've had all year long, including Ali McNeil leaving that game. And yet you're able to still limit that offense to that production. Like, it makes me so much more confident. We talked about early in the week, like, if this was a normal Sunday game, Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, those guys have a chance at playing. DJ Reader has a chance at playing.
Yeah.
Now you're going into Buffalo with those guys coming back. This defense, the players on this defensive ball, like
that Ford Field.
The confidence of this, not only is this team winning, but the confidence of this team, this morale, everything that they've been told and just buying into is sky high right now. Like, there's not a thing that Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Terrell Williams, Antoine, like everything these coaches are saying, the players are just buying into, and it's paying off. It's so just clear compared to you look at the other NFL teams around the league, even the Kansas City Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo has won multiple Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator. Personnel, better than this. But if they were to play the Green Bay Packers right now, I'm sorry, the Green Bay Packers are winning that game if they played like that because they just don't have the personnel to match up with them, in my opinion. The Detroit Lions have the personnel and the coaching to go beat anyone, anytime, anywhere.
I want to get ahead of this real quick. I know it's already going to be opposing fan bases are going to go, oh, Lions, back-to-back 3-point victories. Oh,
No.
Hold on. I want to say this. The Lions, by the way, have blown teams out of the
teams
water.
Are supposed to. They blow out.
They've gotten accused of embarrassing opponents. That's where they were at some part of the season. What did we say, guys? That's not sustainable. They're going to have close games.
Yeah.
And now that they have some close games, people are like, oh, maybe they have some. I saw a comment on Twitter I just saw, and now I'm like responding to that. But I know it's going to be more of them. They're getting Kansas City-ish. Kansas City leads the league in one-score games. You know, second, Minnesota Vikings. The Lions have a handful of one-score games. And by the way, you're going to have a lot of them. It's the league. That's why the spread's not like college football.
I said that yes.
But the Lions have taken care of teams. So them getting these 3-point victories, look at the context. 14 guys out. 14 guys out.
It's not even 14 guys. You have 18 guys on the IR, and then you have also guys on the injury report, like 10 of them.
Context.
Like, you are missing half of your football team and your depth, all of that. It's the same people who will say that, Jeff, are the people before this game are saying they're too injured. They're probably going to lose this game. It's the same people over and over that people are trying to judge the Detroit Lions. You're trying to say this, say that. Guys, the Chiefs are a top 5 team in the NFL. Every single game they play is a one-possession game. Every single team. When the Lions when they're healthy and they play the teams that they're supposed to blow out, what do? They put 50 up on them and they beat them by 40 points. And that, like, they take care of business. A game like this, guys, they're a 3-point favorite. That was for a reason.
Yeah.
And I said it a million times. They're a 3-4-point favorite with 18 guys on IR and 10 guys on the injury report list and all of that. And they're still 3-point favorites. And guess what they won by? They won by 3 points. So, like, this isn't they're not a fraud team, nothing. This is the NFL.
No.
Welcome to the NFL. This is a divisional football game versus, I bet you 90% of the people who are saying things like that have the Green Bay Packers in the top 7. This is a top 7 team. This was an NFC Championship type of game that you're looking at potentially in the future. So, like, this is – and, guys, I'm going to say this because I was doing the Kool-Aid chug and all that. Guys, you take care. You control your destiny going forward. No matter what happens in the Bills game next week, all you have to do is beat the Minnesota Vikings, and you most likely lock up the NFC North. That's it.
I would say I think that I know maybe statistically it's not. The NFC North.
You just need them. You need them to win.
The Vikings just need to lose a game throughout the rest of the season. That's all you need.
Yeah, I guess so. You still need to take care of business.
I get what you're saying. Like
11 games in a row is
to lock
crazy.
it up, but you lock up a playoff spot. The Vikings are doomed to drop another game eventually. The Detroit Lions, and kind of to what you were saying about the Chiefs, like the Detroit Lions when they play teams they're supposed to beat, like the Chiefs. What I can't remember the exact score, but they were playing the Raiders, and I believe they won by like 2, and they didn't even score 20 points. If you want to compare the Chiefs, how the looking Chiefs is, go look at the Chiefs' schedule and tell me outside of the Baltimore Ravens, I believe it was week 1, where Isaiah Likely toe cost them the game, the Chiefs have not beaten a single soul. And when they're playing these teams that are worse than them, it's a one-possession game outside of New Orleans Saints, which is the bottom 5 team in the NFL. They've had 2 games that weren't one possession. When you look at the Detroit Lions, look at how many games they put up 50 points in. 2. That's how many games the Chiefs have won by one possession or more. So I don't see the correlation there. If there's a team that you're going to compare the Detroit Lions to, it's the Buffalo Bills or the Philadelphia Eagles. In the course of weeks 1 through what are we now 13 after this? The Lions have looked better.
Klotz, I'm done doing it. I'm done comparing the Lions to teams.
Done doing it.
I'm with you.
I'm done comparing the Detroit Lions to other teams in the NFL. They are completely different. This is the best team in the NFL. This is one of these years where you look at it and you have 10 days to get healthy, right? I bet you within those 10 days, you're going to see a lot of those guys, Taylor Decker, you're going to see those 3 defensive linemen come back. You're going to see Emmanuel Mosley come back. You're going to end up seeing multiple guys come off the IR, I bet you, in the next 10 days, the next 14 days. You're going to start seeing those guys come back. Maybe Germ comes back. Khalif at some point is going to come back. You're going to see Anzo come back.
And Aleem McNeil, the head thing, it's a longer week, so he'll be back.
Aleem, like,
you don't have a
guys,
short week,
you're going to, like, this was the game to where it's.
Oh, Derek gifted five more.
Derek Glass. Oh, there it is.
Sorry, but go ahead.
So
Shout out Derek.
listen, you are just now. This was the game. There is like these moments, right, in a season where it's like, this is a down week. Like, we have to figure out how to get over this hump. Playing this Packers team, who's a top 5 team in the NFL with all these injuries, that was your moment. And if you got by that was your like testing moment. And they got by that, guys. You're going to have tests in the playoffs and all that down the street. You will, other tests. But this, what I saw today, for you to step up and AG to step up, man, the assistant coach of the year by far. But for him to step up and put together a defensive plan to be able to at least keep him a little bit in this. I know they gave up 30, but at least to stay in this game and then Ben Johnson to turn around and Jared Goff to go make those plays. Dude, this is the best team in the NFL, and then there's a gap. And then there's the Bills.
You know what's crazy?
And they go through adversity. Everything they handle it. Everything.
And when they're going through that adversity, what are they doing? Adding more players who are making a difference. So not only the guys that you're talking about coming off injury are going to get better, but the guys like Jamal Adams and Quan Alexander, who played pretty solid tonight, they're going to get more familiar with the scheme, and now they're going to be able to make a difference behind the guys who already were. So this team is not only better than everybody else in the NFL, but through just these little sneaky signings that Brad Holmes continues to make with these veteran guys who used to be able to make plays all the time, and now you're just asking them to make plays some of the time, and they tend to do so. They're getting better there, too. So the Lions continue just to separate, even with all these injuries.
This is without Aiden Hutchinson, by the way. But I'm going to say this. Think about this.
Looked like Aiden Hutchinson.
Guys looked good, but I'm going to –
come on now.
When guys start coming off the IR, there are going to be decisions to be made with certain players. Because you have 53 guys on the roster, guys. You have guys at the bottom of the 53-man roster that are making plays. And it's going to be – I'm not saying some of these guys that we know, I'm not saying they're going to be cut or anything, but it's going to be a decision. That 45 to 53, guys like Nowaski, those like, hey, you are fighting for a spot because now you're adding Jamal Adams. You're adding David Long. You're adding dudes, man. Dudes.
And let me add this too, fellas. I thought it was an interesting call. I just checked real quick on
this team is so good.
ESPN. Broderick Martin's debut. He had some flashes. And I want to say this, the Lions run defense before we all kind of lockstep there. It's W for all the boys there. I will say, I said the type of game you want Josh to have is like an 18 for 60, 17 for 60 type of game. 18 for 66.
Jordan Love?
No, Josh Jacobs.
Sorry.
18 for 66, 3.7 yards per carry. That's what you
under 4 yards.
And by the way, 19-yard run.
How many? Wait, real
in
quick,
the 66.
Just a quick question: how many yards did Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed combine for?
66.
Okay, that's pretty fucking good.
Rushing. Well, actually,
wide receiver run and running back one
66.
combined for 66 total yards. Obviously, the 3 touchdowns that hurts.
But the run defense, man, Pat O'Connor, those guys.
Yeah, like when you don't have Christian Watson or Jaden Reed, or obviously there's no Romeo Doubs, but Dontavion Wicks, who's caught 4 touchdowns this year. When they're not doing that, and you're getting it to Tucker Kraft. Go for it. Did you guys?
And by the way, I'm not saying that Martin was the biggest reason that happened.
No,
I just want to point out that Martin, there was a couple plays where I was like, okay, didn't have the greatest. But the guys, we didn't expect. We said this multiple times. He's still a developmental player. He stated that. You want to see some plays where like, okay, he showed a little bit of promise. Did he look great? No. But guess what? Pat O'Connor, Aleem McNeil early. You had guys on the edge that played well. Zadarius, who's a really good run defender. El Muhammad. I will say El Muhammad showed that he can defend the run a little better. I mean, this dude was supposed to be just a one-trick pass rusher.
Boone was just talking about.
I want to make that clear. It's not all Broderick.
With Zadarius Smith, I'm going to say this. Obviously, we didn't get to see him a lot play in Cleveland. I would say, like, the last couple of games has been the best game stretch, one of the best in his career.
He looks better here than he does in Cleveland.
Yes. He has been playing so good. I don't know what it is. Obviously, I think it might just be the AG and the defense that you have. And maybe, a lot of people were like, hey, Myles Garrett opens up a lot for him. And maybe Myles held him back a little.
I wouldn't go there. But I think when you
talk about – now he's the number one right now.
Think about being in Cleveland right now, playing outside. You're 3-9, whatever the hell Cleveland is, compared to being a difference maker on a Super Bowl contender where you can just have, like, who's going to say anything to Zadarius Smith in that locker room right now? Like, he's the best edge rusher they have in that team. So Zadarius, not only is he playing for a winner, but a team that needs him. So I think he just feels revitalized right now because when you have those guys in the back and like Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, you kind of feel a little bit more comfortable. So I think just he can take a deep breath and just tap into what he was when he was playing in Green Bay. Like the first drive of the game, what do you see Zadarius Smith do? Get a sack, make a difference. And you talk about AQM, Jeff. That Mercedes AQM is looking pretty
That's
nice
a
right
Mercedes.
now. When Booner was talking about moves that you need to make as far as demoting guys to the practice squad, releasing from the practice squad, you do not touch Al-Quadid Muhammad. You let him just keep playing out there because he has not showed you, in my opinion, a bad game yet. And he's just putting good game after good game after good game. When you got to like later in the postseason,
It's 12 o'clock. Honestly, I felt like it was like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, no, it was throwing me off. I'm like wide awake. But like Kaminsky, and then you got Muhammad out there for a little rotation. Like I'm very comfortable with that. So you keep AQM around town for sure.
Yeah, AQM's showed that he's very solid. I will say AQM, he's a solid player. And by the way, he has played a lot. I feel, and I have to check this tomorrow, but from like a feeling, I feel like he played a lot of snaps. AQM.
Last two games he had.
Like AG's really trusting.
I'm interested to see the snap count. That will
be like
interesting.
It was Zadarius and then AQM, and obviously they were running some 5-man fronts where they're getting other guys rotated in there, like what's his name from the preseason? Like Goudet, they were getting a Goudet.
Mitchell Goudet was getting some reps.
And then real quick, just a shout out, 47 Turner. I can't think of his first
Turner.
name.
They just got. I don't know where he came from.
He had a fucking game. Like he was making some key plays.
Hey, and someone said in here, the Legends FN said the defense let up 31 points. They didn't play good. I will say this with that though, guys, they might not have, like they gave up 30 points. When you get Levi O, Josh Pascal, and DJ Reader back, and you have now what you have on that defensive line, and I kept saying it during the stream, fellas, Jordan Love had forever on some plays. And it is hard for like secondary players to just be able to keep stepping up, keep stepping
red
up.
Red zone, you look at and you're like, okay, they didn't play great. But when you check 3.7 yards per carry for Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
12 of 20 for 200 yards.
It's so
Jordan
hard.
Love.
You cannot let a guy like
Jade
Jordan
Reed
Love
had no
just sit in the
catches.
pocket and just wait and wait and wait. And that kept happening. He just boom in the second half. The first half, you were getting more pressure. And there were times in the second half, but there were majority times in the second half where he's sitting there waiting. Oh, someone's going to get open eventually, especially with the wide receivers that they have. Like, they are going to get open.
And when you're looking at the scoreboard, it's also like, again, like Jeff was talking about, context, very important. When you talk about the score, look at what happened to open up that second half. Green Bay went down, got a touchdown drive. They had to work for it, but then literally like 30 seconds later, Jared Goff is throwing a pick inside the 25, and that's going to set up Green Bay for more points. So Aaron Glenn, he's dealing with personnel issues, but then Goff didn't have a bad game. He had a bad mistake, and Aaron Glenn now had to somehow scheme up to stop it. You look multiple drives later, Green Bay's inside their own red zone, inside the own 10. Aaron Glenn holds them to 3. So when you want to look at this box score, the scoreboard, and see 31 points for the Green Bay Packers and go point at Aaron Glenn and be like, bad performance, go ahead. But if you watch the game, you look at the personnel that was out there versus the personnel that they were going up against. Guys, again, Jaden Reed, their wide receiver 1, had 0 catches for 0 yards. Josh Jacobs had 66 yards. So their best 2 playmakers had 66 total yards. That's a winning recipe.
Yes.
Let the other guys eat, but don't let the key playmakers go off. So I think that Aaron Glenn, we all talked about going into the season. There should be 0 doubt about Aaron Glenn. After watching this game, I don't see how you're frustrated with Aaron Glenn, given the personnel that he had and that he was going up against.
Hey, I got Dan Campbell post game here, fellas. All right, I'm gonna play it here in a second. Hey, Jeff? Can you mute us when we play this here?
Yep, go ahead. Tell me when.
When?
I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's the way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again. All right? It doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making. All right? We were all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just stay the course.
Of course, baby. Yep.
I love listening to fired up Dan Campbell.
You see all the people in the back like standing at attention.
Yeah,
they're waiting for Dan to talk to
crazy.
show any emotion. God, I mean it's true though. Like this this team, and Booner, before you got on, we were talking about it, like going for it on that 4th down, like you remember that Justin Tucker 67-yard double doinker to win it, the Josh Allen on Thanksgiving. Like this team has been through so much as a unit, especially these core players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, Ali McNeil. I know that he left, but all these players who have been through the worst with this franchise, now they're seeing the best of this franchise. They're just built to go into any situation, regardless of where and when, and win that game. So Dan Campbell, I know I said Mike Tomlin, but just if he keeps doing this, man, there's no way that he does not win Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
this guy is coaching out of his mind right now.
Yeah, I will say this: the injuries definitely make his case even better. And if he wins the NFC, let alone the NFC North, I don't know how you don't give this man the Coach of the Year award. I mean, I don't know what else argument, and I'll even admit that I said Sean Payton, but like, let's be real here. I mean, the injuries, and if it depends, like. They're not done. Like they could still go out. Let's say hypothetically, they beat Buffalo. Like lock it up, send it to his house. Like just give it to him now.
It just doesn't feel real. Like 3 years ago, I would remember I was just like, I wonder what it'd feel like to win a division, to go like 11-5 and get a wild card and be playing in the playoffs. The Detroit Lions are 1 game away, maybe even 2, from locking up the NFC in general. Not the NFC North, the NFC. And it's just a surreal feeling. And when you look at this defense, I know we've talked about it enough already, but you look at that defense, you're like, no, that's not a number 1 seed defense. But with Aaron Glenn, it is. So just this coaching staff from top to bottom just keep selling. Like they just keep selling the information that these players need to buy, and they're all just getting in a coaching unit and going out there and just playing ball.
And they're executing at a high level. And guys that just get signed, that's again, it's a sign of coaching. Guys that they just pick up, like guys that are freshly signed, come in and just play actually pretty well. That's to me a sign of coaching. I think players make plays, but coaches put players in the best position to make plays. And Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, the overseer, even Dave Phipp in there.
Dave's been good. They just
find ways to get guys their strengths and use them to benefit them. You know what I mean? Like Jamal Adams didn't play. He played early. But like, dude, he knew exactly what his job was. Get quarterback. Get the quarterback.
When he was in there, he was making a difference, and they're probably like, all right, that's enough for Jamal because he looks great. Let's not put him out there long enough so the defense can see his weakness and keep attacking it. They put him out there in that first drive. He put pressure on Jordan Love, which turned him into Darius Smith, and then he helped contain Josh Jacobs, turn him back into the front 7, and they tackled him behind the backfield. So that's why I was saying, like, not only is that team going to get better when these guys come back from injuries, but the guys who are stepping in while the injuries are happening are going to be able to learn more about the system. David Long, Quan Alexander, Jamal Adams, those guys like that, they're going to be able to get better and better and better. And remember, like the Zach Ertz signing last year before the postseason, it wasn't for on the field. It was to mentor these guys and help them get better. The experience that all those players are going to have is going to be crucial come playoff time. So Brad Holmes, he deserves a lot of credit, as we already give him for what he's been doing this season. But that man continues to cook.
Yeah, he does. And I pointed out earlier about the whole Jake Bates thing. Like this dude comes in, technically, I don't know. He hasn't played. He had a cup of coffee with the NFL, but I'm going to call him a rookie because dude hasn't played really at all. A little cup of coffee. All right, you like that?
A little morning meet and greet.
Yeah, a little more. He had a little cup of coffee in the NFL. But this dude comes in and has multiple game winners for a Super Bowl contending team. That is wild. That is ice in his veins. Like there's a guy here, a bartender, dope ass dude. He has He's got a Jake Bates jersey.
How many?
I'm gonna be honest. I think he told me. So I went and got this 20 minutes ago before the kick. He said I threw it on real quick.
Maybe he's a reason.
I'm telling you, dude.
He's a big reason. I mean, like
he's not saying any words right now.
He's serving alcohol. He's got the Jake Bates jersey on.
He's like the equalizer.
Things. Yeah, he is.
Denzel Washington's he's got the watch on too.
I mean, it just doesn't happen. Guys flare out. Guys look for kickers. It happens. Even guys that get drafted, like kickers that get drafted, they don't work out. And Jake Bates is like, hey, UFL, you're basically in the MVP race in the UFL, which we got to see him, by the way. Shout out Roman, gave us the opportunity. Got to go watch the Michigan Panthers and got to watch Jake Bates. And ironically enough, he didn't even have his best game when we watched.
No, he missed like a 36-yarder.
And then we're like, okay, but we see the highlights with this dude. Like we saw him pregame hitting bombs, and now he's a Lion, and he's special.
And I know
he's special.
We've been kind of having the conversation through the last couple of weeks, but now updated, now that we're past the win over the Green Bay Packers, where does the next loss come for the Detroit Lions after you see how they look tonight and they're going to get healthier and everything that we just already talked about? Do you think it's against Buffalo, or do you think if they beat Buffalo, boys, I'm sorry, they're not going to lose another game in the regular season unless they rest starters against Minnesota, which I'm going to
do this too because Dan Campbell spoke about it, and I think the best thing about this, and we heard it in the post game, is like these guys are so aligned. Like you see teams that are just really good and just have really good players. I don't know if that's on me here.
The Wi-Fi low. Give it a second to reboot.
But you see teams that are just have players, right? Like the Chiefs. I think, like, obviously the coaching staff is unbelievable. Like those guys are unbelievable there in Kansas City. But there's something about this Detroit Lions team, like the camaraderie. Are we still good over there, by the way?
Caleb, are we
good?
Good.
We're good. Okay. But like honestly, guys, like this team, there's something about them. Like they come together, and Dan said it after. Like they just have the right guys in the building. I was trying to set up to play this video, but I don't know if it's gonna work.
It's okay. We're still live. We're good.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm trying to play video on here though.
Yeah. It might not work. Internet might be
just give it a second
on your computer.
Reload everything. It'll be good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. When you get it, just throw it up. We have some time here. Let's see. I see this comment here. Chris, rather L to the Bills than Vikings. Yeah, I'm with you, Chris.
Agreed, because
the Bills are the most relevant game on the rest of the schedule just because it's the only AFC team. They're the best team on the schedule, but when you beat them, it's
at this point, dude. Bigger picture. You know what I mean? Fuck the Bills.
The 49ers are more valuable as a win. Even though the 49ers don't have Jordan Mason or Christian.
You stack up NFC wins. Though. Yeah, stack up NFC wins. End with the best record. You don't have to worry about it. Just focus on that. I'm not worried about the Bills right now. You'll face the Bills in February if they even make it. That's who you should be worried about then. I don't want guys getting back healthy is number in winning, obviously.
Once guys get healthy, guys, this is going to be a scary team.
But you want that bye week. I'm with you.
That's the thing.
They're already scary, and it's not even because like the talent. They have the talent. It's just because of like how they play and what they're about. Like I think that it obviously doesn't get overlooked because that's all people talk about. But like the culture that Dan's built, like guys, you've just won 11 straight football games. You just don't do that just with talent. Like that has to be the culture, everything with it. Like the only other team that's probably even close to that is
let's just say like Buffalo and Philly. Whoever you want to put up there.
Not even them. Like it's like the Patriots that almost went undefeated and won it all.
The 07?
Yeah, that's what it is. So it's just unbelievable because it's just like everything as a whole. I'm gonna see if I can get this video now. I think I might be able to get it.
There we go. Popping up normal again.
But this is Dan Campbell just talking about their goals, man, this season. And they're all aligned. They are all aligned.
It's like, man, we got 4 left, and we want to get. Of course, we want it in. We want in a different way. You know, we want to go in on our own terms, and we want to find a way to get this 1 seed. And that's the priority.
We got the gist of it though. You got to win the division first, which we talked about.
Which that's why, to Chris's point in the chat, shout out to you. Vikings win is important, and they face the it's Falcons on Sunday, which to me they're kind of like a sleeper. Like they could play like crap, or they could get you.
If Kirk Cousins gets his old team,
I think
that's an underlying storyline.
I don't know. It's all primed to
but
be
when
a
you look at
reunion.
you're like, that's a Minnesota win. Look at who they've been beating. They they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were trailing just last week to the Arizona Cardinals off home. So that's one thing where I'm not too worried about what the Vikings do the rest of the year. The Lions have to play the Vikings in the last game of the year. And if they need to go win that game at home in Ford Field against Sam Darnold, Aaron Glenn versus Sam Darnold is definitely something that I'm favoriting a lot. So the Vikings could stay at 2 wins.
I'm trying to do too much here.
You're good.
There's too much going
Don't stress.
on here.
You're good.
I need the boy. Like we need to.
No, we're fine.
Campbell it.
No, we're fine, Boone. We're good. It was a misclick. We're good. We're back. What were you saying? Sorry, Klotz.
I was just saying, like the Vikings. Like I'm not concerned about the Vikings. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep winning these 1-score games.
You're good,
come
Caleb.
Week 18, the Lions and the Vikings are going to face off. Even if the Lions drop a game with the Buffalo Bills and the Vikings do not. If the Lions lose a game, what Booner, you know off the top of my head, we all know it. What's the Dan Campbell's record after a loss? At least in the last
I don't know.
He does not lose after a loss.
No, he doesn't.
They're going to, I believe they play the Bears after the Bills. Then you go to the 49ers. Those are 2 wins. And then you got the Vikings the last week of the season. Dan Campbell's going to make sure that they are ready to go for the playoffs. And that starts with beating the Minnesota Vikings. Beat the Minnesota Vikings. You get a bye. You get even healthier. You get the guys like Booner was just talking about, Anzo, all those guys. You get them back, and you get to beat up on the lowest seed in the NFC, probably the Washington Commanders. That's a rookie quarterback. The Lions, boys, well, I know we say it, but now it's just as the weeks get closer and closer and closer, it's more realistic. They are Super Bowl bound. They are.
Yeah, the Eagles made it when they got the bye week. So I look at that, man. The bye week's incredible. And I will even fully admit the bye week should be, the bye week and the number one seed should be the number one goal. Like, I know winning the division, but that is how valuable that is for this team right now with the injuries. I think it's so valuable.
Yeah, it goes back, Jeff. Remember, just people being like, hey, rest them or don't worry about certain games just so you can try and just squeak by and just get to the playoffs and get guys healthy back for a playoff run. Today shows it. Like the Bears have showed it. Today showed it. You have to be able to get through these games and try and get that bye week come week one for the playoffs, because that is when the real rest comes. That's when the real, like, you're really sitting there.
Go.
Okay.
All right.
Are we good to keep going?
10 more. We got okay.
10 minutes? Hey, Jake Bates,
Come on now. Come on.
Let's go.
Dude, I love hey, by the way, what's your name? Jordan,
absolute legend.
Dog.
Jordan brings the energy, dude. That's the type of guy. That's the type of guy I like watching sports
Let's
with.
go.
Jordan brings the juice. You know, he's fired up. He got
That's
the
John Wick. That's John
It's
Wick.
John-
I'm telling
it's
you,
John
he looks
Wick.
like a normal individual. He'll kill somebody.
Yeah, it was destiny.
He
See?
20 minutes
He
before
bought
the
it
field
20
goal,
minutes
put it
before
up.
the field
Yeah,
goal.
Jake Bates. That's fate. That is fucking fate. He bought the Jake Bates jersey. He kicks a game winner. Yeah, shout out to Jordan. He
10 days off, though, fellas. I can't get over that.
Oh, it's massive. I
10
can't.
days off for this
I want
Lions
to,
team.
man. And it's not even just for the guys that are injured. It's for the guys, everyone. I mean, everyone's banged up on this team right now. Everyone's banged up. I bet Frank's hurt.
Even like
you know what
saw
I mean?
Brian Branch, I probably was cramps and came back in the game, but just seeing him go down,
Like
oh
early,
my
yeah.
God. Like this, if you were to watch a Lee McNeil and Brian Branch both leave the game for any reason, you're
Branch is
close
like,
to panicking
yeah.
at least.
Even Kirby was like holding the shoulder. Like guys are just banged up. They need this.
See Kirby John with Tucker Craft before the game too,
Oh, I love that.
in like 1080p.
And Tucker, I just
720p.
he's got this smug. And by the way, I do completely agree with like the point John made. I think it was John. That's like the type of guys that you hate, but you love them on your team.
Yeah.
As a Lion, we cover the Lions. Tucker Craft stinks. But like if a Packers guy goes, no, I love Tucker Craft, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because it seems like if Laporta was John, I'd be like, hell yeah,
He's
Laporta.
an op.
He's an op. But like this dude, nothing made me more happy than them going. They scored. They go up. What was that? The second quarter? Was that third quarter? They go up by
17-7.
Yeah, they start going up. They start clawing back, going up in the second half, and then the Lions just said, "No, we're gonna put a stop to this shit." It's like it's like Dad woke up or something. Like little bro was playing around.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey man,
hand me the controller."
Yeah.
The older brother. It's little bro. You got Unc playing the game.
Yep." And little bro's controller's not plugged in.
Yeah, and
he's just playing.
Older brother's got to come in, just plug in the controller. Hey,
Yep.
Let me take over for a drive real quick.
Yeah. That was like little bro playing without the controller plugged in.
Yeah.
That was like Jordan Love. He's like, hey, it ain't even plugged in, Jordan. All right. Jared Goff is like, chill, little bro. I got 3 touchdowns. I got 40 plus pass attempts, 32 of 41, whatever it was.
Would you guys still consider, because I was talking about earlier, but Chris Canty went on like a pretty good rant, and I like Chris Canty a lot. He was saying that the Packers are still Super Bowl contenders regardless win or loss. What is your opinion on that after watching them tonight? Because Jordan Love didn't look too good. Do you think the Packers?
I don't know what I said. What is it with the Lions just exposing Jordan Love every time they play?
Outside of Thanksgiving last year, maybe.
Which I got to see.
I'm close to that, and that's why.
What's the saying?
Guys,
every blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah, but like the Jordan Love thing, I asked Dusty about it. He's like not consistent.
No,
like last year,
does stuff
at the beginning
like that.
of the year, he was just brutal all year, and then the second half of the year, he was insane. And then he starts this year, and he throws an interception in 8 straight games, and then has a couple good games. And then today, I mean, he had a couple good passes. Like he played decent today, but it's just like losing these games. Like these are the games. Like if you're a Packers fan, you're like
Their
we
offensive
expect
line
to
got
win.
Bodied.
Yeah, but you expect to win, and you expect your quarterback to kind of put you over that hump, and he hasn't been able to do it versus the Detroit Lions. And as a Packers quarterback, probably unacceptable. Like losing the division 2 years in a row.
I think Packers fans are so used to Aaron Rodgers, like like Dusty said, and he's just consistently mistake-free for whatever. Now Jordan Love is just like,
I mean, at the same time,
he's a little more erratic.
Jordan Love has less starts than Mac Jones. So, like, I think Jordan Love is going to still develop into a very good quarterback, but if the Lions continue just to be his kryptonite, I'm perfectly okay with that too. Be a great quarterback and then look average against the Lions because that's just going to make the Lions look better. So Jordan Love, ball out the rest of the year. Just you do not want to face Detroit come playoff time.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you don't. This is a team that I think can travel, and I've been asked. I had a couple buddies of mine reach out and was like, hey, and he's a Giants fan. Shout out to Jake solely. But he asked me, he's like, hey, you guys don't want to visit the Eagles, right? Like that's his Giants are in that division. I said, honestly, no, not ideal. I don't want to go on the road to Philly. But this team can truly, how they're built, they can win anywhere. Like they just have so many playmakers. They have the offensive line when you get Taylor Decker back. Like they bully guys. I know the Eagles like to do that too, but this team, to me, offensively can travel. And when you get guys back on the defensive line, that defense, like they got playmakers everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Love, you can tell when he's dropping back, he's like, where's Kirby?
Yeah.
Where's Kirby? Where's Brian Branch? Like, where are these guys at? They're lurking. It's like sharks under the water, smelling blood. You know what I mean?
Water's warm.
The doc said it.
The doc, the DOC.
But that to me is like, who wants to play this team right now? Nobody. They just don't.
No,
they don't.
Got it better than us.
A team that can win like that. A team that can win like that with that many injuries is insane.
No one wants to play the Detroit Lions. Not one team.
30
like not one team.
You could be, if you're the Buffalo Bills and you're asking which is the last team you'd want to play, it's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah,
teams right now would much rather play Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and that company over the Detroit Lions. I'd rather see the Philadelphia Eagles 10 times out of 10 over the Detroit Lions just because of the simple fact of coaching. When you look at the coaching that's going on right now, there's not another coaching staff that can do what they're doing right now in Detroit.
By the way, ML Football just put out and reminded people about what Jaden Reed said when he joined St. Brown's podcast. You see that Jaden Reed joined and said,
just wait
quote,
till I come to Detroit.
He said, quote, wait till I come to Detroit, because they were talking trash, Packers and Lions.
Was it a video?
No, it's not.
No. There's
I don't have the video. There is, but I don't have it.
Go on the St. Brown podcast.
That's a good video to get for. So I actually will lock that in. That's a good one. But we waited.
Come on, now.
And I'm going to be honest. I'll fall victim.
Like
I'll fall victim to it. I said he'd have a good game today.
Well, the thing is with Jaden Reed, when you go back and you look up their first matchup against Detroit, he had a good amount of yards. But do you remember the last play of the first half? It was a Hail Mary, and it was basically to Jaden Reed, who was down at the 5-yard line. It was irrelevant. If you look at Jaden Reed the last couple of weeks, I know against Chicago, he had like 2 catches for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't remember the exact stat line that he had last week, but he had a couple catches for a touchdown. Jaden Reed, he's been kind of limited, but he has not been limited to 0 catches and 0 yards. I mean, Carlton Davis, he's coming off an injury. Carlton Davis has one hand out there. And then you got Terrion Arnold, rookie corner, Amik Robinson, solid corner. But if you man him up on Jaden Reed, you expect Jaden Reed to win that matchup. The only play that Jaden Reed had in this game is that penalty early on in the first half when he's trying to run a corner route, him and Brian Branch got tripped up. That is the only impact outside of running orbit motions to get Josh Jacobs better runs. He had no impact on this game.
I will say this, too, to add that. Like, he has one hand because he's playing with the club, still got the turnover.
Yeah, and he gave up that play to Christian Watson, but then you look at, and he gave up the touchdown as well, but when it really mattered, like Carlton Davis didn't let up any big plays in that fourth quarter, and he forced that fumble early on. So Carlton Davis, not the best game, but not the worst game either. He made plays as well.
Man,
this is incredible, boys. I love this. This is a lot of fun. And we're going to, guys, like, it's just great when the Lions win and we get to do things like this where we're out in the public and we get to
shout out to people.
Shout
out Real American Beer. I'll say this, boys, and I saw someone comment in the chat about it. Every time I get to do the Kool-Aid chug, it gets better and better. 11 straight weeks. Like,
do you think you ever would have said that at any point being a Lions
no.
fan?
Honestly,
when I started doing it last year, it was the Chiefs game, and the second win, I think it was the Carolina Panthers. I didn't do it, and people were like, "Hey, we want the Kool-Aid." Start doing it. I never would have thought that we would have been 13, 14 weeks through the season this year, and I would be sitting here.
You might OD on Kool-Aid.
12 Kool-Aids chugs. 12 this year.
You should see, like, he
12.
It's wearing on.
Especially, it's probably got like a look. Yeah, the look on his face. It's got a real feel of like 3 degrees outside.
Oh, it's so cold out there. That was the coldest one I've ever had.
He doused the jug isn't up here, but it's like a legit like jug, and he's got 2 Real American.
Hey, by the way,
those players are laying it out on the line, but so is Booner.
It's cold out there.
Applause for Boone.
All the people out there say, "Go inside. You're gonna get pneumonia." There we go.
Thank you. Hey.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just it is cold out there, and I got to lock in. It's like a different Jack Campbell too, by the way, guys. I don't remember what was the bet that I put in earlier.
7.5 tackles.
Yeah, but
over.
I also did a parlay with it. It was like Lions
What did he
win
have
7.5 tackles.
He was all over the place.
I got you. Let me pull it up.
Did you guys see him jawing with Tucker Kraft?
Oh my gosh.
That's how you know like
Tucker
Tucker Kraft is like, I'm not saying a piece of shit, but as
8
far as like
tackles.
in the game, like he's not
8.
getting shit for no reason. Like Jack Campbell, if he's jawing at you, you had to
Tucker-
do something wrong.
Tucker's got some screw looses, man. But
He does,
maybe
and that's
Jack
what
does too. I mean, Jack's got some screw looses
Jack
too.
Campbell's like a serial killer, where it's just like he's very normal. He's got no emotion. But then there's going to be like that 60 minutes where Jack Campbell is just a fucking maniac, and that's what happened. Like, I'd shout out to Jack Campbell. You boys were right. He was going to be the better linebacker than Anzo.
Even if Anzo was playing, and I think we can agree with, even if Anzo was playing, Jack has just been on a different level.
He's
taken that jump.
Yeah.
Year 2, and like Jack is an all pro. He should be
not all pro,
or Pro Bowl. He should be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
And if he was top 10 in the voting, he should be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
he's been extremely good on one of the best defenses in the NFL.
The only reason I hesitate to say all pro is because I don't think he's
I
there
agree.
yet, but
I agree.
he will reach that all pro
I agree.
level. So I don't want to call Jack Campbell in year 2 an all pro, and in year 3, like that dude, I think will legitimately be like one of the best linebackers in football.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, this boys, I had a blast today. I appreciate you. I appreciate the
You're
hub.
cutting us off right now?
I mean, I'm showing.
He's
Hey,
cutting us off?
hey, we had a great-
The bar is closed.
I love the people, man.
yeah, this was great. I mean,
What a top.
and I love doing these hour-long post games. It's fun, man. I had a blast. Shout out to the hub for having us.
Shout out,
Real
shout out to
American Beer.
Caleb off camera.
Yeah, we
as
have
well.
Caleb,
Hold it
the
down.
dogs.
Shout out Caleb.
Gentry, Caleb, Klotzy, Boone, myself. We're all here in the trenches here doing a good show, and it was a lot of fun. Appreciate you all tuning in. We'll be live tomorrow.
Love you guys. 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes, we'll be live tomorrow. Tune into the show. Until then, love you guys. Go Lions.
Peace.
Fuck the Packers.